as something, that's what you're wanting to be if you want to become a man.
Understood.
A typical man. So.
Understood. Okay. So, CJ, let's talk a little bit about your feelings on that topic. How does transgenderism fit into the new definition of manhood, or does it fit at all?
All right, man. So here's the turning point. This is the crux, I think you call it, where I lose a lot of my friends, and that's good. That's because they need to know if you're with me with the idea that you think that I'm for this, then this is the time I need to clear it up so they understand where I'm at. No, absolutely. There's no question in my mind. Transgender is something that's fabricated. It's man-made. It's synthetic. We made it. Now, of course, you've got that small part of the population. You being a doctor, I'm sure you've heard or known doctors or something like that. There's a small part of the population. I believe when I did the study, it was a while ago. I recently looked it up as well. I believe it's 1%. Some say a teeny bit less. Some say a teeny bit more than 1%. Of the population is at birth has some sort of deformity where they can't tell if it's a man or a woman kind of thing. But
androgyny.
Androgynous, hermaphrodite, things like
hermaphrodite.
But long story short, there are men and there are women. Very, very, very simple. We make this a complex issue. This is very, very simple. There are men that are there are men that are much like, let's go ahead and start with women. There are women that are much like light sockets. There are men that are much like plugs. If you would like to create electricity, you put the plug into the light socket. It is a very simple thing. I don't care how you do it. A plug and a plug do not create electricity. A light socket and a light socket do not create electricity. It is just a simple fact that we pervert to make it the way we want it. Well, I like Rick, and maybe something has happened. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not beating up the people that decide to go the other route because I don't know what's happened in their life. I can't judge them and say, oh, they're bad people. I don't agree with the choice, but I don't know if they've been raped as a child. I don't know if they've been messed with as a child. I don't know if as an adult, maybe they just couldn't find anybody. Maybe everybody made fun of them. I don't know what the case is. So I'm not going to judge them. However, that does not change the fact that it is still a very clear-cut and visual understanding. If everyone decided to go man, woman, we would have no more children. The earth would instantly cease to exist if everyone did it overnight. Very, very simple. We make it difficult. Oh, transgender is something that we need to embrace, or it's something that happens. And again, of course I believe in God, but even without him there, without acknowledging it, it's very simple it was made very understandable and very easy to see. So no, I do not believe transgender in any way, shape, or form fits into masculinity or femininity. It's like a unicorn. It was completely man-made. It's synthetic. It's fabricated. It's fake.
Okay. So what I've heard in terms of the consensus is that
I'm sorry. Let me as we are saying it today, let me say that transgender, as we've been saying it recently, where a man wakes up today and says, hey, I have a penis, but I think I want to dress like a woman, and now I'm half woman, half man, or I'm a woman. That's the term I'm talking about. Not somebody who was born, like you said, a hermaphrodite or androgynous or whatever.
A hermaphrodite, yeah. So Woman of the Year for, was it 2015 or 2016, was Bruce Jenner. And that was an example of what people called a very courageous act for this man to decide he wanted to be this woman. I forget what Bruce's name is now. What is Bruce's name now?
Kate Jenner, I think.
Caitlyn or something like that. Yeah. So he's got this new identity of being a female, and we saw this large embracing of Caitlyn Jenner as a new era in understanding and openness. Now, what do we look at? Do we have anything to define right and wrong when it comes to that, other than the anatomical? Because many people have surgical alterations. Do we have anything else that we can look to besides, being disgusted, or, because clearly there's some strong emotions. Each of you has shared some fairly strong emotions that you are not pro-transgenderism. But what do we have biblically that we can look at or what do we have non-biblically that we can look at to help people who are maybe struggling with this challenge to begin to start saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe I need to get my thoughts in a different way and find ways to cope with whatever they're dealing with? What would you say to the transgendered man who has started taking some hormones and is dealing with the challenge of trying to be a woman living in a man's body now, or a man? I forget how they say what they say, but I'm sorry. I might have got that backwards. No offense to any transgenders. I wasn't trying to be funny. I can't remember which way they say it. They're a woman trapped in a man's body or a man trapped in a woman's body or something like that. So where is the role, I guess, trying to get to the point, what is the role of that and how do we help them?
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah.
You want to go first, Noah?
Well, I was just going to make one comment. The comment that I was going to make is I heard one of the guys, I think it was BA, that says you have to be selfless as a man. And what I find out when you look at people like that, Bruce Jenner case, is that he was selfish. And what I mean by that is when you have started a family and you take it upon yourself to say now you want to change your agenda. You have kids, you have a wife, or you have a husband, but you still have kids. You become selfish because now you're saying to your offspring that it's okay to go against your grain, to go against everything that God has created you to be. And it's a selfish act, not a selfless act. You can say that he was brave and he was courageous. That's the sin of someone that just don't want to lose their career or someone that don't want to be targeted. He was selfish. And all that he did, he was selfish because he had a family. He had kids. Now they don't know what to do. And that's why kids fall to the wayside. And then the media want to ostracize those kids, but they don't understand where they fell and how and what made them fall. And that's the parent. But nobody gives the parents the benefit of the doubt to say, you know what, you did wrong. You failed your kids. And because of what you did, it's not a courageous act. It was a selfish act.
Okay. All right. BA, did you want to also chime in on share your thought?
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing is I would, first of all, don't think, like what Chris was saying, they may have come from any place, and you may come from hurts of every cause, because there's different kinds of abuse. There's just so many things that can go in our head. My opinion of what they should do is there's a book that's got about 64 different chapters in it. Yeah, I think that's right.
66
Sorry
books?
if I'm wrong there.
66 books? Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good book, and I challenge them to read at the very beginning. And in there, it talks about that, this creator, God, which I hope they learn to believe in, created man and woman. And I think I've heard Chris say this in past episodes, but God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So read through the Bible. I would challenge them to read through it. And don't just read. Open your mind. Because the Bible will tell you about the story of a man and a woman. And yes, there are some other things in there that I pray that you will talk to other people about and listen to them as you read throughout it. But we were never made for man or woman. It was made for man to woman. But my biggest thing is I would just tell them to pick up a book or pick up a Bible, as we know it, and read the Bible. But open your mind. Don't close it off. Don't read it like a book, but be open to what the words say.
Okay. I want to, first of all, say thank you guys for sharing those very deep thoughts. I think it's a lot in a society that is very critical of anything that is conservative in its posture. What we're hearing is that you guys are very clear on your thinking that, first of all, masculinity is not something that can just be injected. Masculinity is a thought process which is nurtured over time by either being observed by a young man to an older man, or it's taught directly from father to son or through community growth where there's mentorship. Manhood isn't something that's in a syringe, and that's what I think you guys are saying. The second thing that I think you're saying is that it is imperative to look at the value of each gender. Each gender has its own unique elements. Each gender has its own unique attributes, and it is intrinsically valuable, even if they are different. The act of choosing to identify with one gender or another based solely on how you feel today, or how you feel for a series of weeks, is one area where Nola mentioned that he felt it was an area of selfishness, because self-gratification, or the happiness or thoughts of self, are first. Whereas in Mustang's discussion, he felt putting self last was a most appropriate way for men to be sacrificial.